Wake Up with Patti Katter.
I love the show.
I never miss an episode. It's the best.
I turn it on and turn it up. Hello, everybody. You're listening to and watching Wake Up with Patti Katter. This morning, I have Austin Nichols on the show and his girlfriend, Samantha Curbelo. Thank you both for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit of a tough topic today. Previously, in a couple of my shows, I have talked a little bit about bullying, and I am a very big staunch advocate against bullying. And I really wanted you to come on the show because you both have endured bullying as kids and you were both able to kind of overcome that finally as adults. So I kind of want to walk through the process of that with both of you, if you don't mind. So those of you watching, Austin and Samantha, they both own a company. They went into business together and it's called As Fitness. And I can't wait for us to get to that part of their story. But Austin, let's go ahead and start with you. I met you a little bit before Samantha, and we just kind of started talking, and I started learning a little bit about your business. So could you tell our listeners a little bit about where you're from and about the age where you started being bullied?
So I'm originally from Lakeland, Florida. Grew up with my sister and mom. Mom working full-time job to support me and my sister, so she was never home. So I think around the age of anywhere from fifth grade, I can't remember how old I was, but it was from like fifth grade to I'd say around eighth grade was probably the worst times. Eighth grade it started getting a little bit better. But from fifth to eighth, going into school, I'd be the guy that's always wearing the jacket, even if it's 95 degrees outside, just because I was a heavier set guy. And so I didn't like wearing shirts because it showed how fat I was. So, I would just go to school, get bullied every single day. I'd walk into the school, I'd be in the back of the class. Like, kids would take my pencils or gum, or I used to play with little tech decks, little skateboard things. And I used to steal all of those. And, they would call me fat or, just call me names, hit me in the back of the head, stuff like that. And, it's hard to overcome it when you're that age because you don't know what's going on. And it's not like I could just talk to my mom about it because, she dropped us off at school early in the morning if we rode with her in the morning and then wouldn't be home till like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So it's not like I had anybody to talk to. Like teachers really didn't care at that time. They were just concerned with, the 50 kids that were in their class. So if you came up to a teacher and told someone, they were just like, I'll talk to them. And you'd watch them walk right out of the room and you're just like, okay, I guess it's not going to be solved about that.
Mm-hmm. So when you were at home, did you ever feel like your family ever picked on you, or was that your safe place, or how did you feel once you were home from school?
Obviously, my sister knew I was chunky or fat, and my mom knew it too. So, you'd get the occasional, like, don't eat everything in the house, or, you should probably lean towards healthier foods, things like that. But like I said, my mom wasn't home much. It was mostly my sister. And it was at the age where my sister she's about a year and a half older than me. So she kind of hit that stage where she wants to do her own thing. We used to be very close. And then we kind of separated to a point where she would make fun of me. If we got in arguments, usually she just left me alone or I left her alone. But whenever we'd argue, it would be the first thing that gets brought up is how fat I was. But I wouldn't say it wasn't a safe place if I kept my mouth shut and didn't argue with my sister. Mm-hmm. But usually I would just go home, go straight to my room, or I'd eat something, go straight to my room, or I'd go outside and, try to hang out with friends. Cause I did have friends that lived on the street and, my friends that I did have didn't call me fat or anything like that. Like, that was my safe place, was just hanging out with friends, on my street that lived a couple of doors down.
Mm-hmm. And I know for me, I had siblings and my brother and I would poke at each other. And I think siblings have that rivalry anyways, a little bit. I was a stick, like I was a size 0 and super scrawny when I was little. And my brother would say like Buddha butt and I would call him Buddha belly. So we would kind of, get at each other like that. Now, Samantha, what about you? How did you grow up and what type of atmosphere were you in and when did you start facing some bullying?
Yeah, so I was always a chunkier kid, never experienced being very small. So it was a problem that I dealt with for most of elementary school, middle school, most of high school as well, even though I wasn't in a lot of sports. So my first, I would say, encounter with bullying was when, I was in the fourth grade. We moved around a lot, whether it be for my parents' jobs or they just wanted a new place to go or whatever it was. So my very first day of a new school in the fourth grade, I walked on the bus and one of the girls looked at her friends and then looked at me and said, "Why are you sitting here? You can't even fit on the bus." And that was really the first time I kind of, realized what bullying was. I didn't really understand it. And my younger sister was sitting next to me. She was only a couple of years younger than me. So we were in elementary school at the same time. And, she looked terrified. I just remember like vividly her face just looking at me like, what does that mean? Like, what does she mean? I just told her it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. But that was really the first time I realized what was like fat was. So I went home, I was talking to my family about it. They all knew I was chunkier, but I was a happy kid. I had a lot of friends at the previous school. But that was really the point where like ever since then, I was severely bullied through middle school. And then after leaving middle school, we actually moved to Florida in the eighth grade from New Jersey. So I was able to kind of start fresh in high school and kind of like, get into gear, join more sports, and, get back on track with my health. But it became an obsessive, disorder from there. And it's been difficult through that time to be able to heal that. I feel like a lot of children don't understand and have to go through that, unfortunately.
That's true. Austin, you told me about a story when you were younger with a trash bag. Could you tell our audience about that?
Yeah, so it came to a point where I was bullied every single day in every class period by every single person. So I used to wake up in the morning and act like I was sick. So my mom would go to work and not, worry about me going to school, and she would just tell me to stay home. And as soon as she walked out the door, I would wake up, put a trash bag over my head, make a little hole for my head, make a little hole for my arms, and I'd wear like boxers, and I'd go upstairs and just run on the treadmill as fast and as long as I could until I was like dripping sweat. And there was it was like a little movie room, but it had like an elliptical up there. So I would put on a movie. I would run as fast as I could for as long as I could, just dripping sweat. I'd jump off, watch a movie for like 5 minutes and then do that. And I would do that all day, maybe eat lunch and then go right back to it. I'd, try to make myself throw up. I'd, use the bathroom as much as I could. It got to a point like it was hours throughout the day that I would just sit up there with trash bags. And once I felt like one trash bag wasn't, good enough, I'd start adding another one on. So it was more heat, more layers. And I kept doing that from like, I'd say 8 in the morning to like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then when my mom got home, or I knew that she was coming home, or like the time she was coming home, I'd go take a shower, go sit in the living room or something like that, put a blanket over me and just act like I was watching TV all day. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. I'd say probably 2 or 3 times out of the week. Like I was missing school a lot, just acting like I was sick all the time doing that.
Were you ever able to talk to your mom about that later?
No, she actually, I don't even know if she knows I used to do that. Mm-hmm. So I kind of kept that one to myself to do that. I know my sister saw me struggle a little bit whenever we got a little older. And I got into like skateboarding and like, MMA, things like that to try to lose weight. So she kind of helped me through that at that stage once we were older, to where she knew like, I was trying. And then my mom also, whenever I told my mom I'm starting to try to eat healthier and stuff like that, she would be supportive and help, and she would give me like ideas of what to eat and things like that. But the whole trash bag thing, like I kept that to myself for months. And I'd say I probably did it for about a full year, just doing that probably 2-3 times a week.
Samantha, what about you as a girl? I know how you feel. I can't relate to Austin, but girls, we have all these dresses we want to fit into and all that stuff. Some things are more revealing than some of the things that guys wear. How are you dealing with all of that? I mean, we have Barbie dolls, we have these, and Ken dolls too, with these figures that are something that, for us when we were kids, we're taught like, these are cute, these are cool, these are fun to play with. We want to be like Barbie, these commercials popping in the media, the teen magazines and things like that. How are you dealing with things?
It was hard. It was extremely hard, especially with social media. Like, I believe Instagram was like up on a rise when we were in high school. Like, I think it kind of, I don't know if it just started or if it was really just becoming big. But social media really influences younger girls. And, growing up with Instagram coming out and all these new Instagram models, and like people are making careers out of Instagram or Facebook or different social accounts, it was difficult because you see how you want to look and you compare yourself every day to those people or to the models or, girls wearing cute clothes. And I was one who never felt like I could wear a crop top. I was always wearing something that was never revealing. I wouldn't wear shorts. I didn't want to show any cellulite. I didn't want to show any fat on my body. Like I was appalled by it. Like I just didn't want to go out in public. I never wore a bikini at the beach. I would either tell people that I forgot my bathing suit, which sounds ridiculous now thinking back on it, or I just wouldn't go, right? So I would never, ever walk out with a bathing suit. And it developed into like a severe eating disorder, which a lot of females deal with. I had bulimia for a very long time. I was very sick. I was in and out of the hospital, even, in my college years. But people don't understand the severity of, comparisons. I think now it's getting a little better, which is nice to see body positivity and influencers who are just, trying to make other people feel good in their skin, which is amazing. But also it is your skin. So you want to feel confident and comfortable in it. And that was something growing up I just never felt.
Mm-hmm. Now, Austin, how did you deal with, I know the answer to this, but how did you deal with learning to deal with the bullying, I guess, ultimately?
You never really get used to the bullying. As time went on and I got a little older and, I started going into, I'd say probably about the end of 8th grade or like that summer going into 9th grade is when I actually lost a lot of weight. Realized, like that I enjoy like doing outdoor activities, things like that. And I got into weightlifting, did weightlifting, MMA, football, and things like that throughout my high school. And then I sat there and thought about because, growing up with no respect and getting bullied all the time, you're like, what is the one thing that you could do that everyone's going to look up to you, everyone's going to remember you, everybody's going to sit there and look towards you and be like, like I want to be like that person instead of, he's the fat kid, no one look at him or talk to him. And so the only thing I thought of was the military. So I decided to enlist into the Marine Corps and took that route.
So how was boot camp for you?
Boot camp, I wasn't overweight in boot camp, thank God, because they give you like half portions and make you do a lot of crazy extra things if you're overweight going into boot camp. But I luckily made it. I was at my my prime, I would say, because I worked out 1 to 2 times a day, like just consistently. So I was in really good shape going into it. You never get used to the running, no matter who tells you what. You'll never get used to running. But boot camp was very tough. I think I went in at 205 or 207 and I came out of boot camp at like 155.
Wow.
Just lost a ton of weight, just like ribs. I looked like, just someone that hasn't eaten in years. It was terrible because you're just running and you're barely eating and it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Samantha, what about you? What was the point where you started to change?
I think it was more so when I discovered what fat was when I was going through that bullying. I would say about the 5th grade, my parents started to realize it's starting to get bad. I'm losing friends. People aren't wanting to really talk to me. I was home all the time. I never hung out with people. So they put me in soccer. So running back and forth, hate it to this day, still give them, stuff about it. I'm not too happy they put me in it, but at the same time I did shed down a lot. It didn't help with the mental part of it because I was young at that point. I saw I was losing weight. So I began to obsessively diet for years and years and years. So diet, obsessively exercise. And from there, it was just kind of like a snowball effect, trying to lose weight, trying to look my best to the point where my metabolism was really just shot. But of course, you get to the point where you've had enough, you want to get healthier. I did years and years of research. I was able to find solutions. I was able to, hire mentors and guides and, coaches and things of that sort to get me on the right foot. So I can not only help myself, but now I get to help, hundreds of other men and women across the board. So,
So how did you two meet each other?
We actually met at a gym, of course. But we were both personal trainers. So I was working at a gym as a personal trainer, and then along comes Austin a few months later.
Yeah, I just moved back into town because I move all over the place. And I decided to work out with my friend one day at the gym because he used to come to me to work out. And I moved in with him. So we decided to go to the gym, and I saw her in the corner. As soon as I walked in, I saw her in the corner of the room at the other side of the gym. And I actually asked if she worked here because she was walking with one of our friends that worked there. And, one of our friend was like, yeah, she works here. She just started and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to talk to her.
I'm a Marine. I'm going to go get that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I posted in the Facebook group for my podcast, and one of the guys, he said, his name is Chris. He said that he relates to your story so much, Austin. He said that he's happy that somebody's talking about the effects of body shaming and how it can affect men just as much as women. To this day, he still feels like his body isn't his, and he's worried about getting his abs and looking a certain way. He's slowly coming out of it, but he still struggles with losing weight, and he works out 3 to 4 times a week. He's a chef, so he knows about nutrition. He needs to work on some things, he says. But basically, he wanted to ask if you would recommend the elimination diet and to find out how his body is reacting to certain foods. What do you think about that? Because that is a pretty big thing, the elimination diet right now.
I wouldn't recommend any diet to anybody, just because, coming from my perspective, I've tried tons of different diets. I've tried diets where you drink water and salt. I'm pretty sure that was called the snake diet. I've done tons of diets to help lose weight, but it doesn't teach you how to sustain your results forever. It teaches you how to take something away, and drop weight, and then you add it back into your life, and then, you gain it all back. I think diets are a waste of time. Coming from my perspective, I think, they're not right. They put body shaming to a max. I really don't think any guy needs to have abs to be happy. I think abs are more for show. And they're for, actually competing. If you go into bodybuilding and things like that, I feel like if you're not doing that, having abs isn't sustainable unless you weigh 140 pounds and you eat 100% clean all the time, which nobody does because we're not movie actors. So we don't get paid to eat to look a certain way. Everybody's a regular person. We all have regular jobs. If he wants to stay fit and active, going to the gym, but he needs to figure out, what foods are working for him and what foods aren't. Obviously, maybe take out a lot of fast food, but he should still enjoy every food that there is. That's what makes people, themselves, that's their comfort zone. That's where they are. I'm not saying binge out on tons of food, but no one should go on a diet and jump off of food because, it's the same thing as taking away toys from a little kid. They're fine with it at first, but they will rebel against you and they'll end up, playing with it later on in life. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing with us. If you take food away, we're going to want to eat that food and we're going to binge out on it because we haven't had it in so long. So I don't recommend any diet. I recommend on having a healthy relationship with food and sustaining your results and figuring out, portion sizes and, when to eat certain foods and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking at your Instagram account, Austin and Samantha. Samantha, yours really is touching because it's very raw. You had a picture up. I don't remember when you posted it off the top of my head, but you looked very upset in it. And you had said that it was a photo of basically right after you had purged or binged or something. What was that? Could you explain a little bit about what you post on your Instagram and why you're posting it?
Yeah. So, it's difficult to be extremely raw, but being authentic is the best way to come across and to be able to get the point across. Right. So there's so many females and males out there that deal with the same issues. And that was a picture of me after I purged. But I've also been, bulimic for a while at that point. So just kind of to show what eating disorders really are. So people will think oh, she makes herself throw up, or, oh, she doesn't eat, or maybe he does, obsessively exercising, but they don't realize the actual effects it has on people. So it's more to show that my face was sunken in. I had huge circles under my eyes at the age of 22. I looked like I aged. God, I don't even know how old I looked. I looked like a zombie. I looked like I was dead. But that was the point is, if you can't be happy, like, image is going to make you look happy. You could be the thinnest person in the world. You could be the fittest person in the world. But if you're not internally happy, or you don't see yourself in a good light, you're never going to actually be happy with your body. Right. So it was more so just to spread awareness that, like, I'm a human being, and, there are other influencers that are also human beings, and we all go through certain things. But just because you may be going through this doesn't mean that you can't get healthy again. And it is possible for everybody. I mean, if I could do it, if Austin can do it, we're just normal people. Same thing with all the influencers you see, same thing with all, the actors, believe it or not, they're human too, right? So it's just more so to show that, this stuff does happen and it is real.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so if you go to Austin's page, especially, I mean, he's flexing, he's got like these huge muscles, he's all swell. And you just look at him and you're like, he's some fitness model or something, he's this like Superman. But he has a story behind that and why he became a Superman. And the same with Samantha. Samantha, you're gorgeous. And some people would just maybe look at you and quick judge, like, oh, she was just born with that figure. She doesn't work on anything. The bad vibes and bad attitude. And a lot of times when people throw out bullying remarks too, they are either jealous or they have deep-seated issues within themselves, and it's never really about you. And of course, as adults, we know that. Real quick, what would you recommend to parents that might be some red flags for kids who maybe have some eating issues or issues with food? What are some red flags so that those parents can maybe notice maybe bullying, or notice that, okay, my kid is gaining some weight? Like, what would you tell these parents? Either of you.
The biggest red flags is just, as silly as it sounds, kids are going to talk bad about themselves because they think it's funny. But a lot of times they do mean it, right? They might be saying it because it's funny, like, oh, I hate myself, or, oh, I'm ugly, whatever it may be, to kind of get a laugh. But I would say look into that a little bit. Obviously, don't pry, because the more you pry, the more they're going to rebel. But it's nice to have, like, and just kind of see where they're at mentally, see where they're at physically. Obviously, if they're running off to go to the gym all the time, like, that's a red flag. If they're negative self-talk, or, whatever it may be, if they're walking around kind of like zombies, or they're, just seem depressed, it's not hard to spot. But I think it's harder for parents because you want to believe in your kids and you want to think that they're happy and you want to know that they're having a great life. But, there's just be observant, I would say. Is there anything you wanted to add to that? The kids and adults now are different from when we were kids. Right.
A lot of things are different. So as time changes, so do the kids and how they act whenever they have problems or situations and things like that. I'd say, just talk to them, ask them about their day with school, like, be there for them. My mom wasn't there because she had to work, which I understand completely now as I'm older, why she was working so much. But a big thing is make sure that, it's not just, I wouldn't say it's the adults' fault as well, but a lot of adults aren't really there to put time with their kids. And so they give them, like, hey, here's fast food because I don't want to make food for you. Or, like, here's frozen food, like frozen, like, chicken tenders and honey barbecue chicken tenders and, muffins, all these different things, because they don't want to cook, or, like, it's just faster. It's in reality, it's adding weight to the kid, and the kid's going to end up seeing it added onto him because he's just eating nothing but, processed food. And it's going to end up getting to a point where that's all he's going to want to eat. He's not going to want to eat anything healthy. Like, take the time, like, even make it like a thing where you guys cook meals together at the end of the day. Like, that's y'all's thing of, like, spending time together, is, like, just cook together. Like, it doesn't have to be, Chef Ramsay food, but just, as long as it's not just coming from a bag, I'd say is probably the biggest one. I know that's what added a lot of weight to mine, was fast food, and, like, Chinese, just easy, simple, like, here, order some food. I'm not gonna be home for, 3 more hours.
That's
so that was a
so
big one of how
true.
I got started.
Yeah, that is so true. I even remember when I was a kid, my grandma, she used to bake and cook all the time. Like every time someone came over, that was like, oh, yay, we get grandma's cookies. Yay, we get her zucchini bread or whatever it is. And even my dad, he would say, oh, you've been excellent. Here's $5. Go to McDonald's with your friends. It was like a reward to get the junk food. And so then as an adult, even if you notice like the lockdown with COVID, everybody had all these baking pictures, like they're making cakes and cookies and oh my goodness. And that was their comfort food.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So could you both share your Instagram accounts, please? Austin, what's yours?
Mine is Austin Michael Nichols. All one word, AustinMichaelNichols. There's nothing special.
Okay. And Samantha?
Yeah, mine is at Samantha Curbelo. So first name Samantha, Samantha, and then last name Curb as in boy, ELO.
Excellent. And your website for your business?
Yeah, it's asfitnesscoaching.com. Or of course, you can reach out to us on Instagram. We're extremely responsive on our social accounts as well.
Yeah, reaching out to us on Facebook or Instagram is the best way to go. We're on that all the time, talking with people and potential clients and things like that. So if you reach out to us there, we have a very good chance, more likely, that we're going to answer back within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. And Samantha, could you tell our listeners a little bit about what if they go to your website? What do they expect? Or if somebody wanted to contact you for services, what services do you offer?
So we do virtual online coaching, right? So that pretty much includes like everything, your nutrition planning, your training splits. We get a deep dive into basically who you are, what your dieting history is. Everything's extremely customizable. So the plan is to make this sustainable, to make sure that you are losing weight for life. And not only that, but we teach you everything. So our first program is basically called our Acceleration Academy, in which we teach you how to accelerate fat loss or accelerate muscle growth, whatever that is. But we're teaching weekly modules, and we also have group coaching. So you have a community and you're learning how to do this for the rest of your life, because we don't want to be another quick fix, program where you get no support, you don't get the results you want because nothing's customizable. It's just a generic plan that you pay for. But yeah, everything is 100% customizable to you and your goals. The way I explain it is not every car is the same. So why would every, body work the same? So everything's extremely customizable and tailored to you and your specific goals.
Mm-hmm. You guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. And Austin, I know that when you told me your story about the trash bag, that really just was like, wow. It's something that you don't really think about into detail. Like, you were so young, having to feel like you did, and then being able to talk about it now is very commendable. It's important. There's still a lot of kids out there being bullied. There's a lot of adults out there being bullied. I see pictures, I've seen memes all the time on like Facebook, like, did you see this person in Walmart? And they're making fun of somebody's weight. It's not even a funny meme, it's just mean. So I think that it's great that you're both addressing these issues and that you're so raw and real and open. And I wish you both the best of luck. And everybody who's listening, go check out asfitnesscoaching.com. Check out their social media. You'll find their links on my social media. And do either of you have anything else to say before we end the show?
I would just say, because we've ran to this a lot, is like, if you're, when we talk to people, like, it's, we don't charge anything for it. We don't charge anything unless you decide to actually come with us and move aboard and move forward with it. Just talk with someone, even if it's not us. Like, if you're on the fence of doing something about it, like, talk to someone about it, because, 9 out of 10 times you're going to end up, being exactly where you are, 2 years, 3 years down the road. If you're thinking about it, talk about it, and see where you're going. Another thing is, if there's a lot of trash bags missing in the kitchen, you know why. And then I think that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, definitely get a hold of Austin, Samantha. They'd be happy to talk about you. He just said it doesn't cost anything just to talk to them. So talk to them, see, what might work for you, and then go from there with them. But also, anybody who's listening, who you're out there struggling, just remember that you're not alone, that everybody has these challenges, different lives, but all can kind of relate to different, the stories that my listeners or my guests have. I'm sorry. But everybody just have a really great weekend. Reach out to Austin and Samantha. Their story really has touched me. It's made me think about how we talk to people too. Think about that as you take on the new week. Everybody, thank you for listening, and be sure to tune into my show on AM/FM radio stations across the United States, Amazon TV, Roku, and on every podcast platform. Until next time, take care and treat people nice.
Thank you for listening to Wake Up with Patti Katter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Follow Patti at Patti Katter on Facebook and Instagram.
Get social.
You can now watch Wake Up with Patti Katter on Amazon TV and Roku.
It's the only podcast I listen to.
Be sure to check out Patti's apparel line, The Patriotic Mermaid, at thepatrioticmermaid.com and on social media at The Patriotic Mermaid.
I love it.